Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
Yo, this is how we do it. Hot dicky dog wiggy.
No way we're getting this before GTA 6.
All right, let's do this. Oh, he's ducking the topic. Look at this shit to the chat, guys. Oh my gosh, what is
What are you
this shit,
talking in the
man?
vlog? What the hell? Yeah, he is joining. Why is everyone here? Is he here? Oh, oh, he's there. Hi, Buga. Another a long time no see. Hello, Boga.
Yeah, so we can
Oh,
debate about that, what you said about Islam, and if there's nothing written within the religion or the doctrine of Islam that is against CP or anything. Okay, so again, and what is your substantial like truth maker to the proposition which you asserted?
Okay,
Go ahead.
okay. Who was this? Extremist Saba? Yeah, if you read the chat,
Yes.
I'm not necessarily like confident on the topic. I just haven't seen anything particularly that
Yeah,
bans
I
it. I'm
don't
not sure
care. So I'm
asking.
asking for what's about that account. Okay, so I'm asking about the consistency of what you're observing, right? You're saying you don't see this, okay? So I'm asking what the consistency behind that is for that proposition, okay? So I'm asking
who's
for that.
debating?
So go ahead and provide that for me, please, and thank you.
Who's
Consistency. I
debating?
mean, my father is Muslim, and I've
Yeah,
obviously
okay, so your
read up
father
on
could be
quite a bit of.
Muslim, but he can have a distorted view. So, say for an example, someone can claim to be a Muslim and they're a munafiq, right? So, do you know what a munafiq is? A munafiq is someone who claims to be Muslim, but
No,
doesn't express any actual
okay,
attribute
you didn't really
or,
let me like
qualitative
finish.
properties of what a Muslim is.
You didn't let me finish. It's not like I'm just what I'm trying to bring up is that, my dad's Muslim, so I'm in a household where, one of the main authorities in the household is, Muslim, and obviously I'm given a good bit of like, script Muslim scriptures, I'm given a good bit of, Islamic texts, etc., etc., etc. I have debated on a good bit of Islam topics, seen the hadiths, etc. I just haven't really seen anything, right? I'm more so just I wouldn't say this is a debate. I'm more so just asking you like what exactly in Islam is against like child sexuality, CP, etc. Like, is there any like particular written text? And if there is, can you please show it to me? I'm not really like trying
Okay,
to like
sure,
debate on this
sure,
confidently.
sure, 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 sure. I'm gonna give that to you, but first, I just want to counter something. So you said that you're given a good amount of Islamic scriptures. Honestly, it depends which type of adhere you adhere to. Because consistently, when you say good amount or just like quality amount of like Islamic things, hold on, I'm not done it. I'm not done it. I'm just expressing what you said. So when you talk about Islam, you first have to make sure it's like strong. Say for example about Islamic scriptures. Obviously that pertains to things like the Hadiths, the Quran, and obviously it depends upon your interpretation of the Quran, this and that. Say for example, the Ashari, the Athari, Mutathari. Yeah, it depends which interpretation to have a decent, interpretation or actual one that aligns with Islamic principles. Now let's take a look at like things like Shia, for example. Shia Muslims say that God has no attributes. Obviously, that would literally just be a contradiction due to God within the Quran also being stated that He's all knowing, right? Obviously that interpretation holds contradictions, so obviously it depends upon your interpretation about the scriptures and which amount of quality scriptures you are given which holds strength, right? Because there's a lot of text, there's a lot of adhita books out there too, and hadiths which can be weak as well, right? So obviously it doesn't necessarily point to you having that amount of good knowledge, because these scriptures, as you said, you're given that, you're studying that, and you gauge out these topics with what you have and etc. Obviously, if that's the case, and you're learning from these scriptures, depends upon the interpretation. We need to find out what you have. So obviously, I'm just gonna grant the case that there's probability, and with you saying the CP shit, so I'm just gonna counter that real quick as well. So basically, you do realize what like child pornography is like produced for, right?
Uh, it's produced for pleasure of child sexual individuals.
Okay, so what do you think child sexualization is?
Child sexualization. Do you mean like with the space, or just like like just like you're talking about the
What do you mean with the
individuals?
space, bro? What do you mean with the space? This is not text, bro. I'm asking you, what do you think the conception means?
A child sexual individual, someone who's attracted to
Okay,
children.
I'm not asking about the person. I'm talking about like the okay, I'm obviously referring to the media if I'm asking you about child pornography, right? You should have already deducted that. But anyways,
Oh,
now that we have more clarification, I'm asking you about the media, okay?
I would say that's like defined by just like media, sexually explicit media of children, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not asking what it's defined as. I'm asking what do you think it is at the same time. I'm not asking what it is defined by. I'm asking what defines, say for example, which gives it its meaning, not which gives its interpretation, view, or what it's used for, or guarantees what's used for. Say for an example, as you said, pleasure, or in that term, the media gives it that specific setting or prescription thing. At the same time, you're saying this defines it as this, when you say the media gives that sexualization, this and that, right? Obviously it would have to do with sexualization, right? But obviously, I'm not asking for the thing which grants that. I'm asking what do you consider that? I'm not considering by the media's opinions, this and that. So obviously I think there is a clear synthetical distinction and a semantical distinction between what I'm asking for.
Uh, I I really don't know how to answer that. I guess I'm just going with like generally how people define it in regards to
Okay, sure
child
then. Okay,
sexualization.
sure. So, in that sense, I'll take what you answered before in this answer as the consistent basis for what you consider that as. So, when you answer about child sexualization and what it's used for, pleasure and seeing these sexualized individuals who are children used in that way, you do realize what haram things is, right? Haram, like haram, right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so what counts as haram in terms of lust? Like, do you know what lust is in like that context? Yes or no?
Well, obviously, I know lust in that context, but I think that conversations
No,
regarding
I'm not.
lust
I'm not
and
talking about. I'm not. Hold on. I'm talking about like what like is haram under like lustful things. Like, what is like the things which are haram in that set of lustful things?
well, I know what a lot of people say they are, and whenever I ask for evidence from these people, they kind of just like, for example, they try and claim that homosexuality is banned within Islam, and I look at the scriptures that supposedly do so, and I don't really see where that's the case.
Okay,
So, I
I'm not.
mean,
Hold on. I'm not trying to be your jackass or anything, right? But I'm asking, like specifically, like what do you know? So basically I'm just questioning what you know about it, okay? I'm not looking for anyone else's interpretation. I'm not asking for what people think about the scripture and how they can convey them. Basically, and what I'm asking for is what do you like think basically the specific set of haram things is under the context of lust. That is what I'm asking, Buga.
and also, I mean, I never said that Islam promoted CP. What all I said was that, like, I don't think
Okay,
there's
I never
anything like
said that.
written
Wait, hold
that.
on.
Yeah, I
Wait,
know. I'm
hold on.
not talking to Amin real quick. I'm
Can you
talking to Amin.
answer the
Yeah,
question? Answer the question, please, and thank
hold
you.
on.
I would
Hold
appreciate
on.
that.
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
you're having a debate. You're having a debate. Shut the fuck up and debate, bro.
I wouldn't say this is a debate. I'm just kind of asking him a question, and he's kind of like, spiraling this into something a bit more. Um, but
He made a
hold
direct
on.
question.
Okay, you know what? I'll just answer for you. Xena things. Do you know what Xena is? Actually, I'll just answer for you because clearly you're lost in the sauce. Okay, so in that case, what we define Xena as lustful things. What counts as Xena? Watching things which, like, say for example, we glare at things for our own self pleasure, not in love, this and that. That would count as a Xena act, right? And as you answered, CP, generally speaking, promotes sound like pleasure. It just grants you your pleasure, sexualization of minors, this and that. Islam goes away from that. We do not like to look at stuff like that. We do not, wish harm upon children as well. That's literally within the beginning chapters of the Quran. There's no harm upon children. Actualizing sexuality upon children under that context would be a haram thing to do, and we're enforcing oppression upon that. Oppression is a major sin within Islam. Obviously, that would be contradictory towards our beliefs. If the scriptures in itself would be to deny or not have any consistent thing against CP. So these are clear things against CP within Islam. I'm pretty sure it doesn't need to directly state something to clearly get that message across with modern times. It does not need modern times for that. So in that case, it's anyways clear under just, what we know about it.
Okay, so I mean, via like this whole definition of Xena, in which where you're looking at things or you're doing things purely out of self pleasure rather than for some other, I guess, productive purpose to steelman what you said about quote unquote love. I think under that definition, obviously, it would restrict, CP. But like, I mean, this whole Xena thing, like, I'm unfamiliar with that term, and
Okay,
to be
then
fair, a
that
lot of the
is a
terms that you
hold
said.
on, hold on. Excuse me, please and thank you. That is a beautiful concession to what I was saying. That is a beautiful agreement, okay? And obviously, this is a beautiful thing coming from Buga. Now he agrees with the Islamic point of view, people. Okay? There we have it, the ultimate ending of Buga's trial against Islam. Here we go, folks. That is obviously the greatest ending in American enter sportstainment. Oh my gosh, guys. Like, I just made the greatest deal ever, guys, and I just built a wall around this pedophile's house.
And any person underage can't be